Ram Ram. Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is. We're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, transcendental knowledge. From verse 21. Nirashirjata chittatma takta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan apnati kilvisha. So we read 20. How we can do nishkam karma. Takta karma phalasanga. Given up the attachment of the fruit of the work. That is this. How is that? Nirashi. Asha means desire. Nirashi means without desire for the result. Jata, controlled. Chitta Atma, mind and intelligence. Takta, giving up. Sarva, all. Parigraha, sense of proprietorship of our possessions. Shariram, in keeping body and soul together. Kevalam, only. Karma, work. Kurvan, doing. No, never. Apnoti, does acquire. Kilvisham, sinful reactions. Such a man of understanding acts, mind and intelligence, perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working is not affected by sinful reactions. A Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, for a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession. Yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna conscious person fully engaged in self-realization has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his actions. How it is possible? Jadritsalava santushta danda otita vimatshara Shama siddhau asiddhau cha krittapina nibaddhate. Jadrisya. Jat ichha. Jadrisya. Out of its own accord. Labha with gain, shantushta. Dandha, duality. Atita, surpassed. Vimatshara. Matshara means envy. Vimatshara or nirmatshara means free from envy. Sama, steady. Siddho, in success. Ashiddho, failure. Here, Siddha, Ashiddho. The V and Shandhi, this you, actually, Siddho, you become V when is Shandhi. U plus A is equal to V. So Siddho in success, Ashiddho failure. So also, Kritta doing, Api, although, no, never. Nivaddhate becomes affected. He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, all the performing actions. A Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as is in his power and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not accept engagement in anyone's service if it might hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasya yoggacharata karma samagram praviliyate. Gata sangas of one unattached to the modes of material nature. Muktasya of the liberated. Jnana avasthita, situated in transcendence. Chetasaha, whose wisdom. Yagga, for the sake of yagga. For the yagga means Krishna, for the sake of Krishna. Acharataha, acting. Karma, work. Samagram, in total. Proviliyate, billing, merges. Proviliyate, biliyate, merges entirely. Bilin merged, proviliyate, completely merged. Merged entirely. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence, becoming fully Krishna conscious. One is freed from all dualities and thus is free from all contaminations of the material modes. He can become liberated because he knows his constitutional position in relationship with Krishna, and thus his mind cannot be drawn from Krishna consciousness. Consequently, whatever he does for Krishna, who is the primordial Vishnu. Therefore, all his works are technically sacrifices because sacrifice aims at satisfying the Supreme Person, Krishna. The resultant reactions to all such work certainly merge into transcendence, and one does not suffer material effects. Very difficult to understand. Now, to make understand, is giving some example. How, when merge, like whatever you give in the water from anywhere, like water from Narmada, it has become Ganga water. Water from the ocean, Ganga. It gives a milk also, it becomes Ganga water. When you come in contact Ganga, everything. Even the sewage of Calcutta city coming into the Ganges river, that become Ganga water. And people are, saintly people taking bath. In the same way, how it is possible? Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmanahatam Brahmoivatana Gantabam Brahma Karma Samadhi. You should remind that two things, two meaning. One is Brahma, one is Atma. It's a different meaning in different places. Here, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. The Brahma means spiritual nature. Arpana contributes Brahma, Supreme. The Brahma means spiritual nature, one meaning of Brahma, and here Brahma means the Supreme. Havi, butter. Brahma, spiritual. Agno, in the fire of consumption. Brahmana, by the spirit soul. Brahma, by Brahmana. Here Brahma means spirit soul. So one Brahma means spiritual nature, another Brahma is supreme. Here Brahma is spiritual soul, the spirit soul. Bhutam apart, Brahma is spiritual kingdom. Here Brahma is spiritual kingdom. Ever certainly teno, by him, gantabam, to be received. Brahma is spiritual. Brahma means spiritual, not material. Here is material. Always the spirit nature same. Karma in the activities, samadhina, by complete absorption. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which the consumption is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Again, a person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which the consumption is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Another example, for fire god. For fire god, house is made of fire, his body is made of fire, and his prasadam what is eating, that is also fire. Otherwise, how can he eat? And what is it? The cooking material, the fire is also fire. So anything come in contact with fire god, they also become fire. So transcendental thing also. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because his full contribution to the spiritual activities, in which the consumption is absolute and that which is offered, that is the same spiritual nature. That means he is already in spiritual life. Yajasya haridasya karmana manasya nikhilishu avasthashu jivan mukta shabda. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead on ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product named yoga. This example is given so many places. Somebody is suffering from disturbance of the bowel due to milk. Medicine is yogurt. That is made of milk, made from milk. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness, as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yajna or activities, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The whole Brahman means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma Jyoti. His spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in the Brahma Jyoti, but when the Jyoti is covered by illusion or sense gratification, it is called material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor, and the result are all combined together Brahman or the absolute truth. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter obtained for the cause of the absolute truth regains its spiritual quality. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi or trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna or sacrifice for the absolute. In the condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer, or leader of the performance, and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one. in absolute truth, the Supreme Brahman. We give the example of fire. Everything come in contact with fire god, everything becomes fire. I'm again reading. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yoga or sacrifice for absolute truth. In that condition of the spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer, or leader of the performance, and the result or ultimate thing, everything becomes one in the absolute, the Supreme Brahman. That is the method of Krishna consciousness. Daivam eva pare yagam yogina parjapashate brahmagnu apare yagam yagyanaiva upajuhati. Daivam, in the worship, in worshipping the demigod, evo, like this, apare, some others, yagam, sacrifices, yogina, mystics, parjapashate, worship perfectly. Brahma of the absolute truth. No, in the fire. Apare, others. Yagam, sacrifice. Yagyan, by sacrifice. Evadas, upujuhati, offer. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. As described above, a person engaged in discharging duties in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or a first-class mystic. But there are others also who perform similar sacrifices in the worship of demigods, and still others who sacrifice to the Supreme Brahman or impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. So there are different kinds of sacrifices in terms of different categories. Such different categories of sacrifice are different types of performance. Only sufficiently demark varieties of sacrifice. Factually, sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is also known as Yajna. All the different varieties of sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely sacrifice of worldly possessions. Worldly possessions. One sacrifice, and sacrifice in pursuit of central knowledge. That means worldly possession, Drabhajagga and Jnanajagga. Two types of sacrifice. Drabhajagga and Jnanajagga. Drabhajagga, worldly possessions, Jnanajagga for transcendental knowledge. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possessions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, while others who want some temporary material happiness sacrifice their material possession to satisfy demigods such as Indra, the sun god, etc. And others who are impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence. So those are temporary material happiness that they are doing their identity by merging into the existence of the impersonal Brahman. The demigods are powerful living entities appointed by the Supreme Lord for the maintenance and supervision of all material functions like the heating, watering, and lighting of the universes. Those who are interested in material benefits worship the demigods by various sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals. They are called Bahu Ishwaravadi, or believers in many gods. But others who worship the impersonal feature of the absolute truth and regard the forms of the demigods as temporary, sacrifice their individual selves in the supreme fire and thus end their individual existence by merging into the existence of the Supreme. Such impersonalists sacrifice their time in philosophical speculation to understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme. In other words, the fruity workers sacrifice their material possessions for material enjoyment, whereas the impersonalist sacrifices his material designations with a view to merge into the existence of the Brahman. For the impersonalists, the fire altar of sacrifice is the Supreme Brahman. And the offering is the self being consumed in the fire of Brahman. The Krishna conscious person, like Arjuna, however, sacrifices everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Thus, all his material possessions, as well as his own self, everything is satisfied for Krishna. Thus, he is a first-class yogi, but he does not lose his individual existence. Prabhupada has turned verse into in a nice way. Different type yoga, Drabba yoga, Jnana yoga, but Prabhupada said, no. Arjuna is a Bhakti yogi, this is topmost. Thank you very much. I'm a little busy. I should stop here. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita as it is.